I'm going to show you my #1 overlanding tool right now. It's a magnet. That's all, folks. What's up, guys? I'm finally putting together a Jeep Tour 2023 of my whole entire overlanding rig. What's inside, the whole entire exterior setup, the Jeep itself, and some other camping things that I've kind of acquired over the years. I'll even talk about the rooftop tent that I've had for about a year now, a custom platform that I built inside, and some other knickknacks here and there that I think are just fun little things. If you're new to this channel, my name is Matt Zeffi. Thanks so much for watching. If you are into Jeep videos, camping videos, and overlanding videos, and even off-roading videos, I have a lot of that here and a lot more coming in the near future, so it's a great time to get subscribed. When I first started overlanding, or whatever you really want to call it, car camping, things of that nature, it was literally just the Jeep at the time, and I just put the seats down and put some extra padding, and I don't even think I had a mattress at the time, but I really was just sleeping in the back of my car and camping because I just wanted a way to get in the outdoors without the expenses of doing so, and to basically sleep in the nature. And I think that's one of the best parts about having a rig like this. All that to say, you know, when you're first getting into overlanding or car camping, you don't need to get all of the gear. Take it easy, as us New Yorkers say, and the best way to figure out what you actually need for your camping expeditions is to go out on camping expeditions and write down, hey, here's where we can improve, and maybe we can bring this along next time. As of now, I kind of have kept things bare bones just to try and minimize anything that could go wrong on the road. So for the Jeep itself, this is a 2018 Jeep Wrangler Sport. I do have Rubicon wheels on them with Falcon Wild Peak tires. I just thought these looked awesome, and obviously the tires themselves are perfect for all terrain, and I've definitely put some use to them since I've got them. Adding these wheels themselves added about 2 inches of lift to the overall rig, which has saved me in not getting a suspension yet. This is a stock suspension, so we're a little sagging in the back because of the weight that we have, but I do have to get a winch because, I'll be honest, I overland alone a little bit, so I think it would be a good idea if I got a winch, something that I've just been putting off, but I plan to do it soon. I'm like looking at this car in amazement because I've actually not done that much stuff to it, and yet it feels like I'm always spending money on it. The hardtop is also stock. I have the soft top in storage right now. I used to love like taking the whole entire top off with the soft top. It was one of the many sacrifices I had to make, including my bank account, when I got into overlanding, because I just knew if I had the soft top, I wouldn't be able to do the roof rack, and I wouldn't have the storage or the rooftop tent. So just one of those sacrifices that I think has to happen when you get something like this. The rear windows, I plasti dipped black just to black out the entire back window. I really wanted to mount the gas can originally on there, like emergency gas tanks. I didn't want to add all that weight to there, so I think if I were to balance it out in the front a little bit more, maybe I could do that in the future, but right now I just have them blacked out entirely. If you're unfamiliar with plasti dip, I could peel that off at any time, so it's just an easy way to get more privacy, and if I'm sleeping in the car, it also provides a blackout shade. Something I always get questions about when I'm actually out on trails is the door steps, which are both from back road. I have one on the passenger side as well. And those are really helpful to lifting up the rooftop tent, throwing things in the rooftop tent, sometimes getting into the rooftop tent, but most importantly for moving things on top of the rooftop tent if I need to like maybe adjust the solar panel, clean it up there, or you know, when I had storage up on top, it was easy to access the storage using those steps. Moving on to the roof rack, this is a Rhino rack system. Right now I have the crossbars. I'm considering switching to the Pioneer platform so that I can run a few more accessories on top, but the crossbars are significantly cheaper, and I have the backbone system supporting all of that weight. The backbone system is on the inside, and I actually love having it back there because it provides a lot of mounting space for accessories on the inside. Once again, getting back to those magnets, which I'll talk about a little bit more once we move inside the Jeep. And of course, on the very top, I have a truss-made hard shell triangle aluminum rooftop tent. One of my favorite parts about the whole entire rig. So you should look at warranty and customer support when considering buying one, because for the most part, many of them are just made in the same exact factory. But on top of the rooftop tent, I used to run storage up there. I had a big Pelican case with recovery gear and other things in there. But now I have two 100-watt solar panels from Renogy. Another big sacrifice because obviously I needed that storage space, but having the ability to charge using solar panel has been absolutely fantastic because I'm running for so much longer now, and it's just pretty sweet that you could leave your car anywhere and it's charging as long as, you know, you're actually getting sun power. I used to have one of those like fold out solar panels, but I found that I was not using it enough. It's not that it's too much work, it's just an extra step where I'm always charging, you know, even if I'm driving, I'm still actually getting an input charge, which is fantastic. I also have 2 traction boards up top, and I think these are fantastic for new overlanders or car campers just to get off the bat. They're not that expensive and they could really save you in a pinch. Also on the top of the Jeep, I have a cell booster. This is from WeBoost, and I have to tell you, it has been fantastic to have on the road. Sometimes it will give me signal in places that I have no signal, and for the most part, it gives me a couple extra bars. I have been camping with friends who haven't had signal too, and I've been like, hey, come sit near my Jeep and you'll get signal. On the passenger side of the Jeep, you'll notice I have a 2-gallon emergency gas tank. This is a tank from Rotopax, and I have the lock on there as well. And the carrier is actually from Moride, which is a company that I'm really a fan of, and I have their trail kitchen as well that we'll talk about later once we move into the Jeep. That whole journey to getting an emergency tank all started when I was overlanding in Maine last year and ran out of gas, and I swore I would never let that happen again. But with all that said, I think it's time to take a look inside the Jeep at some of the things I have going on in there. So first things first, the wardrobe, as I like to call it. Many people think I'm crazy for this, but for the most part, whenever I'm traveling, I have a ton of clothes on this little rack that I mounted a flagpole, I think it was, or even a broomstick or something across the top of the Jeep. And I basically just hang my jackets and some of the things that I guess it's just easier to hang and look at. And when it's all full, it literally looks like a little wardrobe here. And I actually really like that. The rest of my clothes I either keep inside or here as well in little packing cubes. On the other side here, I have my camera bag. You don't need that to overland, obviously. If you are interested in hearing about some of my camera gear, let me know in the comments down below. I could talk about camera gear all day, so I'd love to make a video on that. And then I also have a ladder that goes and comes with this rooftop tent and an axe there. You don't need really an axe. A hatchet will do for the most part, but I just think an axe is cool. I've also got the electronics for the cell booster underneath the driver's side seat here. And that's pretty much it for this side of the Jeep. I kept this side in, the one side seat, just in case I have to carry a third passenger. But I think if you're doing it for maybe a few months at a time, to have that extra space might be a little helpful. But so far I've liked having this seat there, just in case. So as far as the passenger seat is concerned, nice. Got the stuff falling out in the middle of the video. I don't really have any specific use for this seat. I keep it mainly open because I sometimes do drive with a passenger. And for the most part, if I'm sleeping, I'll move the seat entirely forward to have space if I'm sleeping inside the car. And right now I just have a FedEx box in here. But if it's nice out, I'll have my paddleboard or something here. Sometimes I have my camera bag here. But for the most part, it's kind of just a miscellaneous spot. I also have these little nets for your windows. These ones are specifically made for the Jeep. And this is fantastic if I'm sleeping in the car and it's a warmer day, or if I just want to get some ventilation in the car in general. I'll put this on the window and roll the window down a bit, and it helps to get some ventilation, which it actually makes a big difference. So definitely recommend these. And I also got some shower shoes right down there in the most random spot. And then in here, I have the front part of my bed and some extra storage down there. Things that I store down there, I've got my camping chair, an entire separate tent in case I'm doing like backcountry, or if I have friends that I'm coming camping with and they don't have a tent, I just kind of carry an extra one. I have a bunch of winter clothes too. I love to carry all of that in case of emergencies. So things like gloves, hats, extra pants and fleece lined things, just a whole bunch of things that I think are really important to carry along. I have recovery gear under there, and I have a jump starter under there, and I've got a first aid kit all under there, under that platform. All right, so the back is obviously one of the more exciting parts because I've got a ton going on back here. It's kind of crazy. So first things first, I built out an entire platform for this Jeep, and I will have a video on that coming in the very near future. I have basically all the footage filmed, but there's some tweaks that I want to make before I actually make the video. Essentially, the goal for this platform was to make it easier to mount things to it, to be able to have a bed inside the Jeep, and to also have storage because I took out the 2 side seats on the right here. One of the issues that you'll face if you were to put one of these slides into your Jeep without building out a platform is that you'll lose the cargo lid space here, because if I had the stock cargo lid, that would have to lift up the entire thing, and that's really just not possible with something like this. So that was important to me when installing this, is that I had to maintain the space underneath in that little cargo bin right there. And I've got this little compartment down here. I have a bunch of tools, recovery gear, and I also have some string lights that I love to bring camping. And it's just a nice touch, highly recommend those. For the bed itself, this is a 4-inch mattress that I bought off Amazon. I think it was basically like an RV sort of mattress. It did take some cutting, and then I also used this RV mattress cover, and I've got these clips on the bottom that kind of keep it nice and tight. Makes it look really clean, and I can appreciate that for sure. Blanket, it's 100% wool and always really warm to bring camping, so I love to have it. And I've got a climate pillow, camping pillow down there in the back. I also always carry a 30-degree Marmot sleeping bag. I have that in the rooftop tent, of course, because if I could kind of save on space and add some more bedding up there, that's really helpful. And in really, really cold months, I'll bring my -20 climate sleeping bag, and it's ridiculously comfortable. It fits right in the back. It is really large, so I don't keep it in here all the time. I also always carry a down jacket amongst many other jackets, but this one's nice because it just fits in its pocket. And this is rated for, I think, 30 degrees. This is from Decathlon, and one of my favorite jackets. I think it's rated like one of the best down jackets, and it's like 70 bucks I paid for it. And it's orange. I mean, come on. I've got this little organizer for a bunch of little knickknacks that I always carry along with me. Things like 3M adhesive, glues, crazy glues, flashlights, all kinds of like oils, and just a whole bunch of things that you might need in case of an emergency. Sealant, waterproof sealant, things like that. Behind there, I have the EcoFlow Delta 2. This pretty much powers all of my trips. Over time, as I've done longer and longer overlanding excursions, I've sold and gotten bigger batteries. I think I started with like a 500 watt Jackery, then I moved to a 1000 watt, and ultimately landed on the Delta 2 from EcoFlow because it has a significantly longer lifespan than some of the alternatives. At least right now, as I'm filming this, many of them are updating their battery chemistry, I guess, so that they have greater lifespans, but the EcoFlow is fantastic. And then I have this connected to these solar panels charging this. So I run so much off this. I run the refrigerator off this. I run sometimes my laptops, my drones, camera batteries, the booster. And if the solar panels don't top off the battery entirely, sometimes I'll just plug it into the DC port right here, and I found that that's a good system overall. I added this shelf to basically take advantage of some of the storage up here, and it still allows me to put my head up if I'm sleeping inside the Jeep on that side. So this shelf has helped tremendously to take advantage of all this storage. I have things here, water here, and obviously these organizers. These organizers are not the best solution because I can't see everything, and if anyone else had to use this rig, they would be very confused on where everything is, and it only works because I know where everything is. There's 4 cubes here, basically. Most of them are kitchen, so these 3 are kitchen sort of ware. I have propane and pots and pans back there. I've got a lot of my coffee things right here, which, by the way, recently switched to the Stanley percolator. It's great if I'm camping with a bunch of people, but I mainly use the AeroPress if it's just me, and I love the AeroPress coffee. This is important if you're camping with any kind of like flames, I guess. For instance, when I used to have the Mr. Buddy heater, I would sometimes have it in the tent, and so I made sure to have a carbon monoxide alarm. It's also helpful because it keeps track of the temperature, which I take a look at every once in a while. I've also got a USB-C cable. I mainly have USB-C cables and just switched to the iPhone 15 Pro because I try and keep everything one cable if I could travel with less cables and just plug it in. I mean, I think it's so much easier. So I love just having one cable, charges drones, laptops, cameras, and now my phone. So that's fantastic. I also bring along these plates that are actual real plates. I don't bring paper plates along. It's kind of more of a pain, but it's almost like a little luxury, and I like these. And if I'm really deep in camping and I don't have immediate access to water, so these are dry wipes that you could basically get some of the grime off of your dishes. And so this will help me if it's like a day or two and I eventually get back to a water source that I could wash my dishes properly. But these have been a lifesaver, so I like having them. I've also got a laundry bag because I'm always doing laundry if you're on the road for more than a week. So I've just decided that I'm gonna do laundry as I go, and it's so much easier and carrying less clothes. And I've got water on the side here. I pretty much buy gallons of water as I go, so that way I'm not carrying a ton of water. I am looking at doing a whole kind of water filtration system and being able to carry water in the Jeep, and also adding a shower with its own water tank. But right now, I'm still sticking to just bringing gallons of water. Don't have to complicate things, folks. Also with garbage, I pretty much will just get bags as I go along. I don't want to carry garbage in the truck for that long periods of time. I've seen people mount them, of course, on the spare tire, but I use the backup camera all the time, and that's not something I want to sacrifice. So I just use garbage bags and throw them out as I go. All right, so now my favorite part, the trail kitchen from MoRide. This is a drawer slider slash storage compartment right here. And I've got a stove, a little 1-burner stove, because I'm not Gordon Ramsay. I'm not making elaborate meals out here. And I actually run butane in here because it's a little bit simpler of a setup. There's also a way that you could build this whole entire thing out to be a full-on dinner table. It's just some other accessories that they sell with this. And then here I have my set power refrigerator. On any given day, I'll have eggs, steak, sometimes apple cider, fruit, and bacon. And that's exclusively it. I'm a bit of a weird eater, at least I know it. Not my favorite refrigerator, but it gets the job done. It doesn't take up a whole ton of power, and yeah, not much to say about that. On the top of the Jeep, I have a headliner that I installed myself. This helps with sound deadening when you're driving on the highway. Of course, that can be a huge issue with these Jeep Wranglers. So this definitely helped with that. Makes the radio sound better. It regulates the temperature in the summer and winter months, which is really helpful. Definitely can feel a huge difference in that sense. And I DIY'd this whole thing, so definitely check out that video if that's something you're interested in doing. Last but not least, back here, I've got a Blackout Shade. So this is like a traditional shade that you would use in a home, and I screwed it into the fiberglass up here, and I haven't had any issues. I quite like having this. If I'm camping, I could black things out. Even if I'm parked and I just kind of want to hide everything that's back here. For blacking out the rest of the car, as I've said, the side here is already painted with Plasti Dip. But for the other windows, if I'm sleeping on the inside, then I'll just basically hang a curtain around the whole entire thing using those little magnets that I was talking about. I found this to be the easiest solution, and all the roll bars are magnetic, so definitely take advantage of that. I also have this little table. This was my old table that I used to always use for cooking. I put a little stainless steel backsplash here that really helped with, you know, just fire hazard and things of that nature, and it's easier to wipe clean rather than this. This is good. I don't really use it as much because I got this now, but if I need extra counter space, then I also have this. One of my biggest tips with these overlanding rigs is to always find multiple uses for something. Since I'm a filmmaker, I'm often traveling with some like video lights and things of that nature. So I have these Pavo tubes from Nanlite that I love for video uses, but they also provide great utility as well. So I have a magnet that connects to them. I can mount it anywhere in the Jeep, and it provides a nice light when camping. And it looks like a lightsaber. It's kind of awesome. Well, that was a ton of fun getting to look at a lot of the things that I've added over the years and just little quirks about this Jeep that I've come to love. Thank you guys all so much for watching. If you have any questions about the gear that I talked about or just anything about this video, let me know in the comments, and let me know what's your favorite overlanding piece of gear that you bring along with your camping trips or whatnot. Let me know in the comments. If you want to see any of the gear, I have a whole list of pretty much everything I have running on this Jeep at my website on the gear section. I'll also put some links in the description down below. Keep in mind those are affiliate links, so they do help the channel. I've got a ton of videos coming in the near future that I'm super excited to bring, so it's a great time to get subscribed. Like this video if you got anything out of it, and I'll see you guys out there on the road.